Hi, I'm Jay Thomas from Jay Thomas Auto, and welcome to another update at the swap shop. Now, Russ is away. In fact, he's in the States. We'll touch on that in a second. We got Tyson here.
Hello.
And if you haven't figured it out yet, Tyson is Russ's son.
Indeed.
But you're the guy who does all the work around here.
Well, I'm one of the guys. Yeah, there's one more.
There's one more.
Yeah.
Jason's already taken off for the night, but you've probably seen him in some videos, some of our updates around as well. Now, Russ is down in the U.S., and he's got a new truck. What did he call it?
He calls it Prada.
He calls it Prada. Where did that come from?
Well, it's because it's a Denali, so
okay.
it's a lot fancier than we used to. So he came up with a really cheesy name for it, and I don't know, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit, but I guess that's what dads are supposed to do.
That's exactly it. Exactly.
It's a sweet truck.
So yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's dually a 1 ton, right?
Yeah.
Like she's all decked out. Anyways, Russ has got this new truck and a big flat deck. And if you're looking for a vehicle to make its way from the US up to Canada, especially Saskatchewan, get a hold of Russ on Instagram or Facebook as well. Russ Burr, you can find him there. And he's got apparently one more spot still on the trailer. He's making his way back next week sometime, right?
Yeah,
we think?
Should be next week. And he's really good at dealing with people. If you want to find a rust-free Blazer or something in the States, he's great at finding them, and he's willing to do it. So it's a great way to find a rust-free truck.
And he can help with the paperwork and all the other processing that happens to cross the border and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So get a hold of Russ. He can take it from there and help you with the details. But today we're going to do a little update about some new stuff. Now, last time we were here, we saw a K5 Blazer. Well, we saw Lorraine's K5 Blazer, right? I mean, we went for a ride in that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's winter now, so she's in storage.
Unfortunately, it is.
The black one was just about done. How'd that wrap up?
Yeah, it went great. We finished it up, and I can't remember exactly when it was, but the customer came and picked it up, and it turned out to be a wicked truck. We were really happy with it, and he was really happy with it as well, so that was really exciting. Okay,
Tyson, so we got some new stuff in here, and starting with what you're standing in front of, which, hey, cool little short box Chevy. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Where'd this come out of?
I think the guy's from Langham. It's a really sweet truck, really clean, regular cab short box 2-wheel drive. It's a 98 Chevy half ton, and this swap we actually sort of picked up where someone else left off. So it's got a 6-liter in it. It was originally built for twin turbos, and that build sort of fell through. But it is a built motor. And like I said, we're just sort of picking up where the last guy left off.
Okay, so he was gonna do twin turbos. That didn't happen. It's over here now. What was here when you actually got it? Like, what was in here?
When we got it, the motor was mounted. Most of the accessories were in. The rad was in, and the fan. So most of it was like it just needed to be wired and the exhaust system put in.
Yeah.
And then a few other small things, and of going over it to make sure that the work that was done was up to our standard, more or less.
So we're just about done this thing, right? I mean, you said there's like a little bit more work on the exhaust.
Yep.
So we've got a weld there or something like that, right?
Yeah, so the exhaust is up and tack welded, but we just need to basically do the final weld. And then the wiring it's mostly in, but something that I'm pretty excited about is the harness. This is it was sort of new territory for me, so it was really exciting, but this was the stock harness for the original motor.
Right.
And it was taken out, but we needed to use it to retain the original gauges, run the fuel pump, and things like that. So we got it. I pulled like a good chunk of the wires out, which is our big wad right here.
That's hilarious. Look at that mess.
So I did a good chunk of that, and then we had a friend of ours, Kelvin Jansen, come and help us just make sure it was all up to standard. So we just got to throw that in and it should run.
Absolutely. Calvin Jensen's been on my podcast and on this video before too, and he's called the Old Car Doctor, and he's a pretty big expert with all the electrical stuff, right?
He's an absolute wizard.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah. So this thing is close to being done, just a little bit more to go, and should be on the road. Pretty cool old truck, right on. Now over here, we're just like, it's like Blazer Factory in here. Hey?
Somehow we just attract Blazers. I don't know what it is, but.
If you've been in Saskatoon this past summer, you probably recognize this big jacked up Blazer. A guy named Matt owns it, and he brought it in for a little bit, right? A little bit of work here and there. You guys were just tying up some sort of loose ends, right?
More or less, yeah. He brought it in. It was lifted like way higher before, and he had to lower it for basically, I guess, SGI reasons, and then a few other things. So it had some oil leaks so we fixed that, and just a couple other small things that we're getting so that it's perfect for him in spring.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, I saw it. I was like, huh, I sort of remember it taller than that. But
yeah.
Okay, so he's kind of brought it back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, he brought it down a bit. I think it looks great like this.
Oh, it
it's
does.
got a really nice stance, and it's a really beautiful truck.
Oh, and he did such a good job restoring it and putting it back together too.
He did, yeah.
Totally cool. Now, over behind you, a Camaro is still waiting for an engine over here, right?
Yeah,
that's what's happening.
I guess if you've been watching the videos, you've noticed that one's been there for a while. Unfortunately, it's still waiting.
Yeah, okay, so nothing changed much there. But last time we were here, this orange Camaro, what, 69?
This is 67. This
Okay.
one. Yep.
This was kind of in the spot where the truck is right now.
Yep.
And you had the front, let's call it the front cradle, yanked out of it.
Yep.
Sitting there on the ground, because what's going into this car?
So this car is getting an LS9 crate motor, which is out of like the 2010, early 2010 ZR1s. So they're a really cool motor. They're about 700 horse at the crank, and the cool thing about them is, and the frustrating thing, is they're what's called a dry sump motor. So the oil, instead of holding all the oil in the oil pan, there's actually an external oil reservoir, and it pumps the motor through, which ends up being better for performance for a lot of reasons. And so it's a really cool motor, but it's also throwing a lot of curveballs for us.
So you actually were showing me in here before, because the problem was that it just wouldn't fit, right? I mean, not that it wouldn't fit, it would sit in there, but there's parts of it that were just hitting each other, right?
Yeah, so we found out that the oil fittings, basically where it comes into the oil pan, hit this bushing here. So it ran into a lot of trouble for steering, because we couldn't run it like that. We couldn't even get the fittings close to being on. So we found that we had to run a rack and pinion, and pretty well the only way to do that was to build a chassis around a pinion or buy a chassis that has a rack and pinion mounted in the front.
Gotcha. So that's what's happening for this customer, is like, this is kind of under wraps. We're waiting for that to kind of come right now, right? He's sort of said, okay, let's do it. And
exactly.
That's the only way that we're going to get that engine specifically, which he got for you guys, right? He's like, let's do this. That's the only way it's going to go in. So
yeah, exactly. It'll really be a one-of-a-kind car. If you look online and try and find a 67 Camaro with a dry sump LS9 motor in it, there's very few, and they're all quite top-notch builds, so it's really exciting to get to do something like this.
Okay, Tyson, well, I mean, that's pretty awesome. We got a whole bunch of projects in the go in here. There's lots of stuff happening, but you know what? You guys are always looking for more. So if we see somebody, who's watching this video right now, and they want something swapped out of their car, they're looking for a restoration, you guys are always on the hunt, right?
Absolutely, yeah, where we'd be more than happy to do anything. Like, we'll tackle anything, so we're more than happy to do it.
Well, I mean, look at the stuff in here. We're having to customize things all the time, and it's great. It's awesome. So if you want to find out more, find the Swap Shop on both Facebook. You can find it on Instagram as well, and get a hold of them that way. And maybe we can get you in here swapping something.
I'm talking.
Exactly. I'm Jay Thomas. Catch you next time on the Swap Shop Update.